All right, everybody, welcome to the kitchen table. I am Kenny D. You guys know me. Before I get started, I never usually say this in the show because I always forget because not a big deal for me. Like the channel, subscribe, comment, the whole nine. I really appreciate it. So thanks for watching, everybody. Today, I got really great special guest today. Been through a lot of stuff, and it's going to be a great interview. He started out in Ridgefield, New Jersey Volley Fire Department and became a Ridgefield police officer in 1986 and served there until 1994 when he got on the FDNY. In 1994, he was assigned out of probie school to Engine 63 and then transferred to Squad 41 in 1996. And he was in Squad 41 for quite a while, and he was promoted to lieutenant in 2009. Bounced around the city a little bit, got assigned to Engine 43 in 2012, and then retired in 2015 and went down to the North Charleston Fire Department and was on there as a captain from 2016 to 2022, and then became a battalion chief in the Goose Creek Fire Department in South Carolina. And since then, he's been a mental health advocate, and everybody knows who watches the show. They know in the beginning it's a subject that is very close to my heart, and I've talked about it, and I'm definitely an advocate myself, and that has gotten him into mental health lectures, and he lectures guys and he teaches guys. So welcome to the kitchen table, Steve Gillespie. How you doing, brother?
Thank you, Kenny. Thanks. Appreciate it.
I really appreciate you coming on the show, man. You're stepping up for me.
Thanks for having me.
No, of course, man. We have, you were saying we have a very similar kind of path and, in some of our values and all that stuff. And we've definitely inhaled some of the same smoke up in Harlem and the South Bronx.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to talking to you, man.
Yeah.
For sure. So originally from Ridgefield, New Jersey, huh?
Yeah. Grew up right on the other side of the Hudson River from New York City. So that's probably what my dad, my mother, and my father grew up in the South Bronx. And my dad always wanted to be on a job. He was a volley in New Jersey. And when I was young, man, we used to have they're going to show my age now, but the Bearcat scanner, with the crystals that you put in so we used to listen to the Bronx all the time. And wow. My dad was like, come on, let's go buff this job. And, I would go over got to see the Super Pumper when I was a kid.
Oh, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that was the war years at that time. I mean, I think I'm a couple of years older than you, but
yeah,
but it was during the 70s,
Yeah.
So Harlem and the Bronx were burning. A guy who lived across the street from us was an aide in the 16th Battalion. My dad's best friend was a fireman in the Bronx. So I grew up in it, man. The only thing I ever wanted to do in my life was be a New York City fireman. So anything I did up until then was until I get on the fire department. So,
it was just waiting for that call, right?
Couldn't wait. Yep, yeah. Couldn't wait.
When did your parents move out of the South Bronx?
When I was born in 66, so they moved in January of 66, but they lived up on Walton Avenue, up by where 75 and 33 is now.
Okay.
So, yeah, but my dad grew up on 138th Street, right down the block from 83 and 29.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So they were right in the thick of it there.
Yeah, my mother got all bent out of shape when I went to 41. She's like, we worked so hard to get out of that neighborhood, and what do? You go right back there again. I'm like, yeah, Ma, that's where the fires are, though.
that's your roots. Your roots brought you back there, man.
Yeah,
your roots brought you back there.
There's a church across the street. A church across the street from 83 and 29.
Yeah.
St. Luke's. My dad went to grammar school there. My parents got married there, and I was baptized there.
No shit.
Same church, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that's crazy. That's funny. Yeah. Oh, man.
Well, I grew up in New Jersey, though. I never lived in the Bronx. That whole.
So they brought you from New Jersey to that church to get baptized?
Yes. Yeah.
See, that's how special the South Bronx was, man. That's great.
That's great.
Yeah, for sure. And your dad eventually got on the job, right?
No, my dad was a volley. He never got on. It was around the layoffs time and everything. And
right.
He inspired me to get on a job. He was a volunteer for a long time.
Mm-hmm. So you got on the Ridgefield Volleys at what age? What age were you?
Yeah, 17. 17.
Man,
Yeah.
did they let you
And
go
I
to
was
fires
hanging
at
around
17?
there since I was a little kid too. So
Yeah. Yeah. Did they let you go into the fires at the 17 or you had to wait?
at 17, you can, yeah, I think there's a picture in there. I got an orange helmet on.
Yeah.
That was like the auxiliaries. So you weren't allowed to go interior until you had Fire 1. So.
Oh man, here it is. I hate, yeah. They got to make screens bigger, man. I know I had it here. Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. Look. Wow. Look at you.
Pumpkinhead.
That
Pumpkinhead.
is, man, 17. Young
Yeah.
and spry. Ready for fire duty.
Ready for fire duty. As Keith would say, 10-8 and available for fire duty, Kay.
Yeah. Yeah. We will get to Keith for sure. So, all right. But you get on, now you rate, what year did you take the FDNY test?
87.
87. So
87.
you got on Ridgefield PD in 86.
86. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now, how long did you were in Ridgefield till 94? What, you were just waiting for the fire department?
Yeah, it took 6.5 years total. There's a couple of things that went on. They stopped the physical for a while. There was a guy who actually died taking a physical during that time. So they postponed it for a little while. Actually, one day, one of the days I was going, I actually walked up to the Coliseum and they were posting the note on the window that said they postponed the physical again. Yeah. So so it took a long time. Then I got a 95 on the physical, and that dropped me down to 2,671.
5 points, man.
I should have been. The list was supposed to expire in May of '94, and I got hired in April of '94. So
really,
yeah. And they extended that list one more year after that. So, but I made it. Nice. I even took the next written test, just in case I didn't make it on that list. So.
Yeah, that was the same thing. Like, I missed the test because I was in the service. Yeah. And I got out. I had to wait like freaking 6 years for a test. And then you take the test, and I waited like another 3-4 years to get hired. It's one of those jobs. It was always like that. That's what everybody said. Your physical was in the Nassau Coliseum?
No. The New York Coliseum. It's not even there anymore. It was in Columbus Circle. Yeah, I don't know what it is now. Yeah, it was. The building's not even there anymore. They knocked it down years ago. So
oh shit! I didn't even know
that was the old physical where you had to jump over the wall and stretch the hose and then go up the stairs and then the dummy drag and all the. So
they changed it.
You took the one where all the sections are timed.
Yes, every section was timed. They had a proctor walking with you. It was the ceiling pull, the hose pull, the forcible entry stuff. I can't even remember all the events, but I took mine.
My class, right before we graduated, my class, we went through, that's when they changed that physical. And my probie class went to, there we are.
Yeah.
My probie class, that's half of us. That was
that's class half your class.
Yeah, we had 147 we graduated. So
okay.
That was just my company. So they sent our class through to set the times for each section. So all of us were like the first thing it did was the Stairmaster.
Oh yeah, the Stairmaster.
And everybody was like, shh, don't go between 5 and 5.5 minutes. And don't do any more than that. So, and that wound up becoming the next physical that everybody took after that, where each section was done. So
right. So all right, now I got a picture here that I want to pop up that we looked at before. Well, let's do this one first because
okay. Oh yeah. That is I was in the pipe band in I think that's Belmar, New Jersey. Actually.
Oh really? No shit.
Yeah, and I played the bagpipes. When I was a cop, and this is a picture of just all my buddies from Jersey, a bunch of troopers, and actually the guy right behind me with the orange hat on. Yeah, he wound up passing away from cancer at a pretty young age. So, yeah,
awful. Man, were you a sergeant? That's a sergeant stripes there?
No, that's for the pipe band. It was called the pipe sergeant. It was kind of the guy in charge of the band is called the pipe major. Yeah, and then kind of like his lackeys are pipe sergeants. So,
all right. So
I'm wearing a kilt in that picture. I don't know if you
I do see that. Are you wearing? Here's the big question: are you wearing anything under the kilt?
Just your imagination, buddy. Nothing is worn under the kilt. Everything is in perfect working order.
Yes. So. My brother-in-law was NYPD, and he was in the drums. He played the drums. He's like, yeah, we didn't wear anything under the kilts, and the girls would try to put mirrors on their shoes. Yep. And we're like, get the fuck out of here.
Oh, no, it really happened.
That's hysterical.
That's a conversation for off the air.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was on the Park Police, United States Park Police, and the sergeants wore their chevrons upside down. Upside down,
really? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I thought there's one. I think they're one of the only. It's like it dates back to like the Civil War days. Like it's an homage to that. But that's one of the only police departments that do that. So that's what I thought. You were a sergeant. That's what because of the chevrons.
Yeah, I think that's a British thing.
A British thing. Okay.
A lot of the pipe bands are, the real big pipe bands are usually British Army bands or military bands. Uh-huh. And the British military wears their stripes upside down like that. So.
Oh. All right. Now here's a cool one too.
Oh yeah.
Nice, dude. I pulled this one up and you're like, where the hell did you find that? That's great.
We weren't chips, we were rips. Because it was Ridgefield Highway Patrol. Yeah.
Ridgefield Highway Patrol.
Yeah, we had a couple of bikes. It was good.
Nice. So, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I had fun riding a bike.
Awesome. Yeah. Very, very cool, man. So, but really just waiting for the fire department to call you, right?
Couldn't wait. And
then you get called 1994, right? How was that getting called, man? How did that feel?
Oh God, I cried my eyes out. I was living I wasn't living at home. I had an apartment in another place in Jersey, but I kept my address with my parents. And my dad called me up. He's like, I got a letter from the fire department. I'm like, all right, let's hear it. So we both had a good cry when he read it. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's great, man. It's a great feeling. It really
is. Yeah.
It's something, like you said, you dream about your whole life. It's what I ever wanted to be, my whole life. Ever since I saw a fire in my neighborhood, I was like, ooh, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And just getting called was just an amazing feeling. So I get it, man. It's awesome. Very, very cool. So how long was probie school for you guys?
9 weeks.
9 weeks.
Yeah. We were a couple of firsts. We were a couple, we were the first or last. We were the last class before you had to do CFR.
Oh.
We were the first class to graduate with bunker gear. Right.
Oh.
So we got measured for bunker gear. I think there's a picture in there with me with two other guys. I don't know if you can tell. I'm not in bunker gear, but the other two guys are. I got to wear we were the first class of the quartermaster too. So when we got on the job, we had to go to the quartermaster. Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, the guy to my right on the left of the photo, that's Joe Angelini Jr.
Okay.
He was in ladder 4. He was killed on September 11th. And his dad was killed. His dad, Joe Angelini Sr., was in Rescue 1. And Joe Jr.'s son just got on a job, Joseph III.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So there were a couple guys in my company that were killed on the 11th.
Yeah, I bet, man. Friggin'. So those guys were wearing bunker gear, and you were wearing rubber goods, though. In that
yeah. For 3 months, I got to wear pull-up boots at 63 engine. It was awesome.
Nice, and here's your boot. Look at this.
Yep, there it is.
There you go. You should have that bronzed and hung on.
That's old school, man. I could say I did it.
For sure. The guys that I knew that got to wear that stuff were like, it was just the best because you could get dressed on the rig, get on the rig fast. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to worry about pulling your bunker pants up and all this other shit. Yep. They just loved it, man. They loved it. And I never. Obviously, I never got a chance to wear that stuff. They'd have to make them child size for me, man.
I'm not. If you listen to Kubler, he says he's taller than me, but I think I got an inch on him.
Yeah. So. Well, listen, both of you are taller than me, so it's pretty funny. I heard that conversation. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, he used to make fun of me for being fucking Jolly Green Giant. He is. So.
Yeah. I think he's even shorter now. I don't even know. He's shrinking. All right, so you get assigned to 63 engine.
Yep.
right? But is that where you expected to go?
No. I gotta like my dad's best friend. I call him my uncle. He retired a battalion. He was a battalion chief. I think he was still captain when I was in probie school. I can't remember. Anyway, I got a call from him the week before I graduated. He's like, I just got off the phone with Fellini, who Chief Fellini was the 5th Division commander. It was still the 5th Division.
Right.
They were in 80 and 23 at the time. He's like, I just got off the phone with him. You're going to 42 engine. And I was like, awesome.
Okay.
So the order came out and it said 63 engine. And I'm like, where the hell is 63 engine? Because I had been hanging out. My dad's best friend, I call him my uncle. There's a picture of him in there as well on my last night. He was a lieutenant in 43 engine. So I used to ride my dad in 43 engine all the time. Yeah. And that was a big card playing house. They used to play poker all the time. And they played poker. So my dad would go over every Friday night, every Saturday night, play poker. If they had 4 guys in the firehouse and they wanted a 5th for a poker game, they'd call my dad up on the phone and he'd drive across the bridge just to play poker.
Just to play poker with the guys.
Just to play poker. Yeah, he's a degenerate gambler. So I say that jokingly. So, but when my uncle left, when he got promoted out of 43, my dad wound up staying there, and he became, like I don't want to call him a buff because he was like a resident of the firehouse. I mean, they actually, how they have, all the headshots of all the guys in the company. Yeah. They actually had a headshot of my dad in the firehouse because he was there so much. And and he hung out there for like 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I wound up getting a spot in 43 engine, and it was like they used to make fun. Whoa, what is it? Bring your dad to work day? Because I'd be working, he'd come over and he'd hang out. So.
Did he try and tell you to get in the sink and shit like that?
Yeah. He was the senior man. Yeah.
I think the picture by the rig, is that you and your dad?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see if I can find it. Oh man, I know I have it. I know I popped it up here. But so now when you got the orders, you were like, this is wrong. I was supposed to be going to 43.
Yeah, so I called. So what happened was it was the second probie class where Safer was the commissioner, and he was like one of the first non-fire department guy. I can't remember it. Howard Safer was Giuliani was in office. He made I think what happened was he wanted Safer to be his police commissioner, but that spot wasn't open yet, so he made him the fire commissioner until he became the police commissioner.
Oh, right.
So Safer started sending guys to all the battalions that had a lot of overtime. So my uncle called me and said, I called him and told him. He's like, yeah. He goes, I'm glad I got you in the Bronx because I was supposed to go to 2 truck apparently because I had lived in Queens at the time.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, and he's like, I just called him up and asked him to put you in the Bronx because he wanted to keep an eye on me. So so I was able to get a spot in the Bronx, and I was hanging out, in 43 and 59 for such a long time. I knew what the firehouse was like.
Yeah.
At the time when I got to 63, it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't enough fire duty for me. Right. Now, I mean, that's like the place to fucking be now.
Yeah. They're knocking them dead now, right?
Knocking them dead up there, and then 39 moved in with them, and they're doing a ton of fire duty up there. Yeah. But it wasn't at the time, it wasn't what I wanted. It was guys lit. It was the closest firehouse to where we talked about that earlier. The older guys that were just, they wanted a good commute,
back in the day, everybody lived close to their firehouse. Yeah. Like the war years guys, most of the guys, they lived near their firehouse. The families would always show up at the firehouse and stuff like that. I mean, look at I'd mentioned this before. Look at the Walbaum's fire. Half of the families were at that fire.
At the fire, yeah.
Were at the fire when the roof collapsed and they all went through. So we've kind of, we have a couple guys up in Harlem that are from the neighborhood and their families show up, and I think it's really cool. It reminds me of like what it would have been like back in the day. But now everybody lives everywhere. Everybody lives all over the place. So, but so you get to the Bronx in 63. I got to 220 when I got out of probie school. So we have a kind of a similar thing. Great guys, great house. I was from the neighborhood. I grew up in that neighborhood. So if a box came in on a block, I could pretty much figure out what kind of building it was. You know, I might even have known who lived there, you know. So it was great, but it became a really nice neighborhood, and they weren't doing much fire duty. I love the guys. The guys were really close. I just wanted to go to work more. I just wanted to, you know, be busy. So I wanted.
So we want to be firemen. We became firemen and go to fires. And
right.
You know, there's certain neighborhoods where the fires are. So
yeah.
My aunt lived up the block from 63. She used to come visit me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she used to come down with a stroll. I mean, she was like 80-something years old. The guys in the firehouse loved her. They'd give her coffee. She'd come with a stroller. Oh, it's my nephew. Yeah, you know, like my great aunt. You know, she was in her 80s.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool though, man. That's
she used
awesome.
to walk to the firehouse. So
yeah, listen to this. I don't want to. This is your show. I don't want to take up, you know, your time. But a guy that was friends with my brother, grew up in the neighborhood, showed up at my firehouse. I was a probie. And he knocked on the door, and the house watchman, you know, had some time on, and he's like, Delaney, to the house watch, you got a visitor. And I was like, oh shit. So I show up, and it's this guy. He's like, and he was into drugs, and he was into alcohol, like he was a mess, you know. But he knew me from my brother. They were very good friends, and all the guys are standing there around, like looking at this guy, like, who the fuck did we get that he's bringing these drug addicts to the firehouse? You know, he's like, oh man, I just want to say thanks for being in the neighborhood and protecting us and stuff. I was like, dude, get
get out of here.
yeah. But so I know how that goes. But all right, so you're in 63, not very long, and then you get transferred to 41.
Well, yeah, there's a story behind that. So
yeah, let's hear it.
So it was enhanced engine 41, right?
Enhanced.
They hadn't changed the name yet. So the history with 41 is that it was closed in 1989, and then when they reopened them in July of 90, they were going to make, the stories I heard is that they were going to make it Rescue 6 because Rescue 3 was still up in Washington Heights.
Okay.
And there wasn't a special unit in the Bronx. And I guess the borough president wanted a special unit in the Bronx. So then they changed it. It was going to be a squad company. But what happened was, excuse me, the reason why they closed 41 was because they moved, they built a new firehouse where 71 and 55 are. Mm-hmm. And so they moved it a lot closer. Sidebar on that, you know, just like Brooklyn, companies are really close to one another. Yeah. So 41 is on 153rd between Colton and Morris. Mm-hmm. If Melrose Avenue, one block over, and was it 5 blocks up is 71 and 55. Mm-hmm. And then due south of there, 7 blocks south is 60 and 17. Right. So in 13 blocks, you had 2 engines, 3 engines, 2 ladders, a battalion, and a division chief, all in that area. Yeah. You know, now we were second due 4 blocks from the firehouse. You know, so so when they reopened them, they couldn't make it a squad, couldn't call it squad because all the legal letterhead said engine 41, and it was the neighborhood that got the firehouse reopened, and they were tremendous people. The guy there, Marty, that wound up getting when they closed the firehouse, they handcuffed themselves to the rig and everything, you know, and trying. And but he still lives in the neighborhood, and so they said they came up with, however they came up with it, it's going to be enhanced engine 41, and it's going to do all the same things that Squad 1 does. So because it was only Squad 1 at the time. Right. Yeah. So all the department orders would say if it had anything to do with SOC, it was rescue companies, Squad Company 1, and enhanced engine 41. So again, it was part of SOC, so you had to go on a detail. Yeah. So I got the opportunity, and I tell you honestly, I really didn't belong there with the 2 years I had on the job, but it was the only way to get out. I couldn't transfer anywhere else because everybody was full, you know, and they weren't loading up battalions anymore because the companies were full, and there was so much that was battalion overtime still at the time. Yeah. So you only get overtime inside your battalion. So that's
Okay,
why I
right.
went to 63, because 63, the 15th Battalion, was so low. I'm bouncing all
Yeah.
over the place here, but
That's all right.
So I go on a detail, and I didn't belong there, but I stuck it out, man, and I got my balls broken, and I got, you know, but I was able to learn from these guys, man, and they changed the trajectory. God, that's hard to say. Of my career.
Yeah,
You know?
I bet, man. I bet.
And when I got transferred, it actually said from engine 6.3 to engine 4.1, because not until they didn't change the names until July of '98 when they made the other 5 squad companies.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. So it was enhanced engine 41.
Yep.
For a few years before they even made it a squad.
Yeah. So from 1990 to '98, yeah.
Would they call you enhanced engine 41 over the radio?
Oh, it was hysterical. I mean, you probably know some of the stories. It was because there were some really old timers that, like, when I first got to 41, the Chiefs in the 16th Battalion, legends. You know, Kennedy, McKnight, Visconti. I'm trying to think of all the other ones. You know, the 6th Division, that Dibernardo, Kilker. You know, and we would go to these fires, and they were all old timers, so they wouldn't. We would call each other squad on the radio, but they would never call. You know, so like one of my bosses would call. Squad to Division 6. Yeah, and he wouldn't answer him. You know, and then sometimes the division would go, Division 6 to Engine 4.1, and my boss would go Squad 41, and he'd go Division 6 to Engine 4.1.
I even with my time in the 2000s, I was hearing that every now and again. Yeah, you'd hear some old school guys break you guys' balls a little bit about that.
We used to say, we don't care what you call us as long as you call us. You know?
Yeah, just call us to the fire. That's it, right? Now, just real quick, there's a lot of I'm getting a lot of new faces and new people. I don't know who's watching or whatever. A lot of out of towners. The differences between squads and the engine, squads and the rescues.
Yeah.
Can you just briefly touch on that real quick?
Yeah, sure. So the rescues are the varsity and the squads are the JV. It's pretty simple.
Do you guys get all the same training, or like what's?
Yeah, that was a joke. That's what everybody used to say. I always thought of it a different way. So in all seriousness, everybody in squad and in rescue get exactly the same training, right? Okay. We're all hazmat trained. The only thing that the squad guys aren't trained in is dive.
Dive. Yeah.
So they're dive tenders, but they weren't divers. Only the rescue companies dove. And actually, when I was there, Rescue 3 wasn't even a dive unit yet, because they had the collapse rig. So they were citywide with the collapse rig. And the difference between the two is a rescue is a big toolbox, and a squad company is a rescue engine. It's from the pump panel forward. It's exactly the same as 59 engine was, but from the pump panel back, it had a lot more cabinets and a little bit less hose. So we carried a lot of tools, probably about 60 to 70% that the rescue carried. Yeah. And again, we all went to the same technical rescue school. Yeah. And for me, it was I liked. Everybody had their preference. I liked the squad because you still got to do engine stuff. Yeah. And I'm an engine man at heart. The knob's the job, So, right. I never put out 2 rooms of fire with a hook. So that was it, and then I got, and I love driving, I wound up having a seat for the last 5 years. Yeah. And not only, hook up and look up, but being a squad chauffeur was good because you went to all the other fires and you went to a whole bunch of parts of the city. And I felt like I knew the city pretty well. So I was able to get us into jobs quick because I knew the quickest way. Yeah. So nice. That's awesome. So it's great. Same training. We all go to the same training. Rescues just have a lot more tools, and they ride the toolbox, and the squads still do engine work. So you guys still have the same number of guys on the rig, and the same number of guys, firefighters. Yep. And squads have dual positions. Okay. So like nozzle, backup, door, and control. Well, the nozzle was a hook, backup was the irons, the door was the saw, and control was the roof.
Okay.
So, and we worked in teams of two. It was the inside team was the officer. So I think it's changed now. I just spoke to the guy the other day. I think they took third due boxes away from him. But all the other squad companies except for all squad companies except for squad one had second and third due engine boxes.
Okay.
So when you're an engine, you operated as an engine. And then when you went on a 1075, the work and fire, 99% of the time you were operated as a truck, so you took truck tools.
Gotcha.
And then we were at the liberty of the chief for them to do whatever the chief wanted. We were just manpower. And most of the time it was truck work.
Yeah.
So,
like back in the day, I remember like the old school guys would be like, oh, the rescue guys were really just to get down firemen out of buildings or whatever, back in the day. But obviously that's not the case now. They got the fast truck for that stuff now. But that's what guys would say. The rescues and the squads, they were just there to get down firemen out. They let them stay outside. That was, from what I understand, the real reason why they made all those new squad companies was because they wanted more hazmat units, and they knew they weren't going to be able to staff another full-time hazmat unit. Yeah.
So they came up with the squad concept and made them hazmat technicians and said, hey, you got to do hazmat, but we're going to throw the fires in too. So that's what made it more appealing to a lot of the guys that I get to go to fires,
Yeah.
And 41's response area was amazing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, the South Bronx, Harlem.
Harlem. Man, we'd be over the bridge and, 149th Street turns into 145th Street in Harlem. We were there in a heartbeat. So,
oh, yeah. You guys were over that bridge quick. Even when I was there, you guys were getting over quick. Shit, what was I going to say? All right. So now, is that the thing? Like, because you were able to get there in 2 years, was that because there was a lack of people wanting to go to the squad?
No, I think, excuse me, it was a little bit of having a hook.
Yeah.
And my hook being friends with the captain, and the captain wanted to have a little new blood. Which, as an officer, I agree with that too. I think when you bring new guys into the company, it just makes everybody go over the basics again.
Yeah.
And get really good at the basics again. So, he gave me a shot, and I'm forever grateful to him for that.
Yeah. 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 That's one thing that for sure that is on point. Whenever we got new guys, you start getting stale for a little while. If you're not catching any work, you try and drill, but you're like, fuck, we want to go to work. But whenever the new guys would come in, Nick was huge on it. We'd drill, we'd pull the rig out, put the stick up, we'd put up ladders, and we would get the engine guys to start stretching lines. Like it would just, new guys always kept the middle of the road guys and most of the senior guys in it. And just to keep, like you said, the basics.
Yeah, it brought a new life to the firehouse.
Yeah, always, for sure. So you're working your way through squad. You're working your way up, catching a lot of work. You're learning from a lot of guys up there.
Oh God, I can't. When I think about this stuff, I want to mention all these names of guys that I worked with.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to do it because I'm afraid I'm going to leave somebody out.
Right.
Because they meant so much to me when they taught me.
Yeah.
Everybody that I worked with at the time when I first got, not everybody, I mean like 90% of them all wound up becoming officers in SOC. Guys became the lieutenant there. Chris King, I busted his chops on the other one. He was very hard on me, but I have so much respect for that guy. He was a lieutenant in 43. He won 41. He wound up becoming a captain of Rescue 3. And as much as he would break my balls, I'd had so much respect for that guy, and he taught me so much. And it was like the same kind of thing, when you talk about 59, about how, he wouldn't talk to me, until I proved myself, and I was 100% fine with that. And we had a ripping job on, it was like a third alarm. It was on the corner of 80th and Madison. It was like the last block that we go to, 22 engines first due. And we came out of the job, and he patted me on the back, and he's like, good job, kid. And I'm like, I got freaking Woody, I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that forever, for him to do that, for him to validate that, I was, and I busted his chops on one of the other, and I want to kind of take back a little of that, because if you listen to this one, I want to know how much I appreciated what he did for me. But the guys that I worked at, they all became lieutenants at Rescue 1, Rescue 2, Rescue 3, captain of Rescue 4. Lieutenants in the squad companies. These guys were, and then the original engine guys that were there, in the 80s that I learned so much from. I mean, that's my first night tour there, and I don't say it to brag. I say it to say what kind of the quality of people that I worked with. My first night tour, 6 at night till 9 in the morning. We went to six jobs and worked at 4 of them in 15 hours. And that's what the fire duty was like then. And the response area was amazing. Everything in the 16th Battalion, you guys were killing it. 68, 69 and 28, 80 and 23. 67, 84 and 30. Then if you even go south, 58 and 26, 37 and 40. 53 and 43 was a company that they were like a sleeper. When guys would ask us, like, who do you see the most? 43 truck.
Right.
All the time. And they were like right on the cusp. They were like right on the cusp of the nice neighborhood in the ghetto. And if they went right, it was nice. If they went left, they know they were going to work.
Such a great area to work. Such solid companies. You pretty much knew everybody coming in and how they acted and how they worked and how, you just knew. You're like, all right, these guys, this is going to be all right. And then to get your boss to come out and give you a little pat on the back is what you live for as a young fireman. The
greatest compliment you can get is from your peers.
100%. For a guy to tell you, like Nick, to tell a guy,
oh, absolutely,
good job. You did a good job. And then he won't talk to you for another 6 months. But but to hear that, that was the biggest thing. That my biggest fear on the fire department, and you could have a lot of fears on the fire department. There's so many things that you can fear. Was letting my brothers down. Letting the guys down.
That's the worst.
Them coming out and saying, you don't know your fucking job. You suck. That was my biggest fear. So I tried to work hard as I could, even harder to make sure that I did a good job. And I'd come out and be like, I'm just kind of hoping somebody says, all right, good job, kid. And that was it. That's all I needed. But
that's what they expected, though, too. You didn't get it because that's what they expected. If you fucked up, you got a tongue lashing. But if you did a good job, nobody said anything because that's what you were supposed to do.
You're doing what you're supposed to do.
The worst thing, you could scream and yell at me all day long, call me every name in the fucking book and call me. But if you said you disappointed me, that's the worst. That is the absolute worst for your brothers to say that they were disappointed in you. Yeah. I'd rather have you scream and yell at me for hours than to say that you're disappointed in me.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be brutal. But I know what you're talking about.
You don't want to let them down.
You didn't want to let them down. That was the thing. You didn't want to let your brothers down. It's family, and you don't want to let your family down. Especially in situations like that. So let's get a couple of guys that you're talking about here in these pictures.
Yeah, sure. That's me on the far right. This was there's actually another picture of me on a fire escape at this job. This was on a 113th Street on the west side, I think it was. It was a rehab tenement, and the fire started on the first floor, and they renovated the building, and it wound up getting in every floor and into the cock loft and through the roof. So,
not this one. Is this the same job or no?
No, that was a different one.
Different job? I think I was at this job too.
I'll tell you, we were proud. That one.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's me on a fire escape there. The fire, that's the floor above. So
that
is the floor above.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so the fire was that's the second floor where the fire is. Yeah. The fire was on the first floor. And what happened? They knocked the fire down on the first floor. And again, they rehabbed this building. Yeah. And there was so many void spaces. It wound up going up a void in the closet through every floor and then into the cock loft.
Wow.
So, and that group picture there, the one guy in the picture, Billy Martin, that was his last job before they put him out 3/4.
Really?
Yeah.
Caught his final job. Let's get another group one here. Here we go.
Yeah, that's that was early in the beginning, man. The guy right in the middle there, with the set of irons. That's Bruce Van Hine. He was killed on the 11th. So
Man.
like these guys here, John Hassett. He was a lieutenant in 62 engine. Aldo Adisi, the next guy. He wound up being a lieutenant and a captain in 61. He just retired battalion chief. Bruce Van Hine was killed on the 11th. And then Scott Shrimpy transferred to Rescue 2. And then me, and then Charlie Schmidt. Charlie Schmidt lives up in Warwick. We called him MacGyver. Yeah, he could fix anything, man. He was a fireman in Squad 1.
Yep.
And he was Mr. Gadget, man. He could fix anything.
And he lives up here?
Yeah, the last time I checked, he lived up in Warwick when I did. I mean, I'm out of the job almost 10 years now. So
yeah. I probably, if he still lives up here, I'd probably know his face for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, that's the natural progression in squad companies. The squad, if you get promoted, you probably get promoted to a SOC company because you have all the training already, or you transfer from squad to rescue and then get promoted and go to a lieutenant in one of the SOC companies. That was kind of how it was, right?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to go back, but I did for a bunch of different reasons. I spent 13 out of my 15 years as a fireman in 41. So I went to everybody else's fires, Kenny.
Yeah.
I got a lot of experience from going to everybody else's fires, but not a lot of first and second do work, And I was never assigned to a truck either. Although what we did in squad was mostly truck work. I wanted to experience that whole other side of it. So, and also I didn't want to, by the time, the 12% was in, and then you had to go do your year detail, either at the Rock or doing the support trucks. And then you got assigned to cover, and then, then you're surplus in the whole city. So if there's no spot and rescue, you could be working anywhere, and then the 3 or 4 years that I was a covering officer in the 7th Division, I think I worked out of the borough 3 times, maybe.
Oh, really? That's it.
Yeah. They took it. I had 15 years on the job when I got promoted, so that kind of weighed a little bit with the guy that did assignments. So he's going to take care of the 15-year guy opposed to a 7-year guy who just got promoted.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. All right, so
you give him a little Christmas gift. Taking care of the manpower guy.
A little something time. Here. Doesn't hurt.
Bars, maybe a bottle.
Doesn't hurt. That's for sure. The bad thing is if you do all that and you still don't get your assignment,
and you still don't get it. Yeah.
Like,
that's how you know you
appreciate that.
Yeah, that's how you know you're an asshole.
Yeah, right.
I think people liked me. I hope people liked me.
I think so. Now you're assigned to Squad 41 during 9/11. Do you want to talk about that, or okay?
Yeah. I wasn't working. It was Tuesday.
Okay.
I had worked up and down on a Sunday. Got off Monday morning, and then it was a Tuesday. Yeah. That's our rig, and that's Rescue 4 right behind him. So, again, I was home. The chart, was if it was Sunday or Wednesday, then
right.
But we lost 6 guys. Everybody working that day was killed. Lieutenant Mike Healy, Bobby Hamilton, Bruce Van Hine, Mike Lyons, Greg Sikorsky, and Tommy Cohen. They were all killed that day. So, and we were able to locate 3 of them.
Well, okay.
There's actually there's a picture of us carrying Greg Sikorsky out down at the pile.
Yeah, I have a feeling. I know I saw the picture, but for some reason I think it might have knocked some pictures when I was adding more pictures.
Okay.
If I find it, I'll definitely put it up. Now, what do you know? When they responded? They responded.
Yeah, they were
like
the
what you
They were sent to relocate to Squad 18, and then when the second tower got hit, they sent them to the South Tower. So we we kind of knew they were in the South Tower. So again, getting into all that, it took 9 months for them to close the site, and they had the dirt roadways that did all the trucks, the backhoes and they would go down the dirt roads, and there was a north road and a south road, and the south road was the South Tower. And once they put that metal bridge in and started digging up the south roadway, that's when we started finding some of our equipment. So
really?
That was March. That was 6 months into it.
Wow.
Yeah. That's probably one of the first couple of days.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But you had to climb 50, 60 feet over a pile, to go down another 100 feet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what we found. We found the rig the next day. Yeah, that's another one. So, yeah, it was, you'd find, without getting too graphic, but I don't know if there's any other way to tell it. You would find whole people in one spot, and then you'd go 5 feet over and 2 feet down, and then you'd find nothing but the clips from the SCBA or the harness, or so, because everything else was burnt. We were able to identify three of our guys, Bobby Hamilton, Bruce Van Hine, and Greg Sikorsky, and the other three we weren't able to locate. But it was pretty crazy. A story about the column that's in the museum.
Yeah.
So I think there's a picture of that there. So we were the first ones to write on that column. We were the first people to write Squad 41, because when we started finding our gear, yeah,
I see it. Mm-hmm.
So
right in the middle.
So that column was sticking up out of the ground as they were digging away at the South Roadway.
Yeah.
And we started finding our tools right near that column. And around that time, there wasn't smartphones or GroupMe or anything like that. We literally had a phone tree, and we had 2 or 3 guys on site 24 hours a day, because we knew we were getting close. Yeah. And when we would find something, we'd do the phone tree, and then everybody would come down. Mm-hmm. So we started finding our gear, and one of our guys wrote Squad 41 on the column, just so that the rest of the guys would know, hey, this is the area where we found our guys' equipment. And there's a lot of tension on the job, between the cops, between the firemen, between companies that lost people and companies that didn't lose people. Mm-hmm. And, it was just a really, really tough time. And we started getting phone calls and like, who the fuck do you think you are? You think you're the only ones that lost anybody. Like, listen, we're just marking it for, but then everybody else started marking it, and it became this monument of what the Trade Center is, right. And everybody putting their companies on there. And, what started off first as something, we started getting shit for it. A lot of other people did it, and it's in the museum. I haven't been down there since then. I haven't been able to go back, but my son's old enough now, I wanted to wait till he was older, and I want to do it with my family. And, so eventually I'll go there.
Yeah, I've never been to the museum. I mean, we would go down because we'd have a breakfast every year and a service, and then we'd bring a wreath down until they, really started building again, and then we stopped going actually down to the site. But I've never been to the museum. I haven't been down there or anything like that. Now, this kind of you identified 3 guys. Do you think they separated 3 and 3, or? Like, is that why maybe you found the 3 and you didn't find the others? Or do you think they stayed together? Like, because you said, usually guys go separate, like 2 to 2 type of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what positions that they had right now. Cause I never thought of that, Kenny. I never thought of thinking of it, because they might've, the only thing that we knew was the last transmission we heard on the radio was that they were sent to the South Tower. So we thought they were in a lobby, and maybe they were in different places, and that's why we weren't able to. I was just curious. I never. That's a good question. I never thought of that, Kenny, because it could have been. The way we operated was we had an inside team and an outside team.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and I don't remember who had what position that day.
Right.
To be able to say, you know, maybe they were in a different spot.
Right. That's, yeah. When you said that, because I'm, you know, I know even working with you guys, I know that you guys, you know, 2 guys go here and 2 guys go there.
Yeah.
So that's, I was just curious, man. That's heavy, man. And you're still pretty young on the job. Still pretty, you know.
Yeah. I had 7 years, 7.5 years when that happened.
Yeah. And you're in squad, and man, that's tough, man. Trying to go back to the firehouse and when that happens, man.
It was, you know, SOC got devastated. I mean, every rescue company, you know, lost at least everybody working, plus some guys because it was a change of tours. You know, a lot of firehouses were like that, lost extra guys because it was a change of tours. And out of the 7 squad companies, there's only 2 of them that didn't go, and they're the only ones that didn't lose anybody. You know, Hazmat lost everybody except 1 guy.
Wow.
So we worked. The SOC companies were. We were on a different schedule for a while because we just didn't have the manpower to be able to, you know, to staff the rigs. And but then it was going. What's that?
I was going to say they didn't send 2 squad companies.
Yes, 61 and 270 wound up never going.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably heard that before, but I just, you know.
Yeah. And that's why they survived, because they wound up not going.
Yeah. Shit.
But there's a million stories like that. There's a lot of companies that self-dispatched, you know, they went on their own. There are a lot of companies that that officers said we're not going until they send us, and they wound up saving everybody on the rig for making that decision. You know? Yeah.
I've heard some stories, you know, that I won't repeat, but yeah, tough. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, everybody I know, I was a cop then, I was on Park Police then, and we just went down and just passed the bucket back and forth, you know, just tried to help out as much as we could, you know, with that. And that was, you know, I couldn't, like, you just, you know, I can't imagine losing half the guys in your firehouse.
Yeah,
you know?
it was tough, man. That was probably the hardest part was the 9 months down there. But I think even harder than that was, you know, the guys that did the details down there, like after a while they did that. I think it was like a 28-day detail or something. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they do 2 shifts, and, you know, those were the guys that were going there every single day.
Yeah.
You know, and trying to, you know, and if you found people, it was a good day. And if you didn't find anybody, it was like in February, they barely found anybody.
Oh, man.
You know, and then they started, you know, I can't imagine what it was like for those guys.
Right.
You know, being there for almost a month, and then you were never able to locate anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Not
and then in March,
anybody.
they started doing the south roadway, and that's when they started finding a lot of people again. You know? So, I mean, we were there all the time, but I don't know if I would have been able to go there I wouldn't have been able to drive there every day.
Right.
No matter how long it was. That was not, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So I applaud those guys that stepped up for that. And some of them did it more than once.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. All right. So we're going to move on from 9/11. That's a tough thing. Anytime anybody shares anything like that, I appreciate it. So thanks. So some guys will share, some guys won't. And I understand, you know, both ways. So thanks a lot. I appreciate that, man. Thanks.
Yeah. I'm an open book, man.
All right. So, you know, you've been to a couple other, aside from 9/11, you've been to 3 fireman fatal fires. Very, very tough to deal with. You went to the Meyran, Bellew fire, the Black Sunday fire. I know you don't like to call it that, but that's the media term. I was just off probation. I was in 220 engine, you know, so I wasn't anywhere near that. It was before I got to 59. But I wasn't working that day, but I went into the firehouse because I heard what happened. I just wanted to be around the guys. And you actually operated that fire, right?
Yeah. So 42 engine was first due. That was part of our response area. A whole bunch of stuff went. It's never one thing that happens, and I'm not. You know, I'll tell you my experience. I'm not going to. You know, put judgment on anything that anybody did.
Right.
There's a lot of dominoes that fell. You that day. It wasn't one thing that went bad. It was a whole bunch of things that went bad. And, there was a blizzard the night before.
Yeah.
There was a frozen hydrant in front of the fire building.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody knew about the wall that they had built, that actually separated the guys from the fire escape, which they, they couldn't get to. But so we responded on a 1075 as the squad, and we rolled up there. And again, because we were a squad company, we all took our tools until we got on scene. My boss reported into to the division chief, who was Chief McKnight, who was a legend he was a 16th Battalion Chief. That guy had some career. So my boss reported in. Our two outside guys went up to the roof, and he gave us an engine assignment, which is very unusual for. They told us to stretch a line, and we wound up starting to stretch a line. So we put our tools down, and because the other two guys had already gone to the roof, I, in essence, as the chauffeur, became the control man. So we had three guys on the line, and one guy was Jimmy DeSciullo. He was fairly new to the company, but he was a paramedic. And then he had the nozzle, and then Phil Zeiss did about 15 years in 62 engines. So Phil had some fire duty in his years too, and then me. And what happened was they wound up changing our assignment to leave the line and to go help some civilians that were self evacuating off the front fire escape.
While you were stretching the line, they told you to drop the
While
line.
we started stretching the line, we got one chief told us to do one thing, another chief told us to do something else. So the division gave us an assignment. We left the line, which we got some crap for.
Did you stretch off a squat, or did you
stretch off for 42?
42, okay.
Yeah, and 42 already had two lines off, so we wound up stretching the 2.5.
Yeah.
So we stretched the 2.5 because it was. Nobody was going back to it. The fire building was pretty much in the middle of the block, and there's 18 inches of snow on the ground on a side street. Nobody was running back to all the other engines were on the corners at the hydrants.
Yeah. Yeah.
So nobody was going back to get 1 3/4 off of anybody. So we just stretched. We stretched the 2.5, and then we were given a different assignment. And the boss and Phil and Jimmy went up the interior, and I went up the front fire escape to help the civilians that was self-evacuating. And I got to the second floor, the first landing, and that's when the mayday happened. So I came down off the fire escape, and I was running down the two side of the building. And if you listen to the audio, the boss from Whitey, they call him. He was the boss from 56 truck. He was at the 2-3 corner looking up at the guys up in the window, and he was the one yelling on the radio, 35 to the rear, rope on the roof, 35 to the rear.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm looking at him as I'm running down the two side going towards the 2-3 corner, and I got about 10 feet from the corner, and a big black blob fell in front of me. And I'm like, that's really weird. They're overhauling during a mayday, until I realized that it was a fireman.
Oh man.
So, yeah, it was Jeff Cool, and Jeff wound up falling one story less than everybody else because he fell on a two side. The other 5 guys fell into the rear yard, which is one more floor down. So Jeff kind of pendulumed out the window, and he fell a couple feet in front of me. And I grabbed Jeff by the shoulder straps just to try and get him help. And he let out some horrific screams. And my mind at the time was like, all right, he's breathing. So he's okay. So I went towards the rear and turned into rear to 2-3 corner. And then one of those things that I won't be able to get out of my head, the contrast of the black gear and the white snow and the pass alarms going off and the steam coming off of these guys. And it was a shit show. So went into the rear yard. The first guy I got to was Lieutenant Meyran. He was covering in 27. He seemed deceased to me. And then right next to me was Gene Stolowski, and Jimmy DeSciullo, the new guy in 41, who's a phenomenal paramedic, did a jaw thrust on Gene. And I watched Gene start to breathe again.
Wow.
He opened up his airway and literally brought Gene back to life. So I did a jaw thrust on Meyran, and nothing happened. So put him on a backboard, brought him around front, got him on a stretcher on the 2 side. Again, the snow everywhere is really tough trying to move people.
Yes.
Then I went back into the rear yard again, and the next guy I came up to was Bellew. And I'm not going to lie to you, because this is a lot of what I talk about with my mental health stuff. I froze, Kenny. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
I froze, and a guy from 41 had to be like, "Hey, Steve, snap out of it." I was just kneeling over Bellew, like, not what the hell is going on here? And then and we put him on a backboard and brought him out. And I struggled for a really, really long time that if I would have packaged him, took time to package him like they packaged Gene Stolowski, would have John Bellew survived. And that beat me up for a really, really long time. I think, and that's a lot, with my mental health stuff is, my therapist would always tell me, stop shooting on yourself, because I shoulda, coulda, woulda. So I should have done this, I should have done that. And I did that for a really long time. Because they packaged Gene so well. He had an internal decapitation. His spinal column was severed. The bony part of his spine. When they took the collar off him in the emergency room, his head turned 90 degrees.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, and they were in bad shape. And and then Joey wound up passing away 6 years. Joey D. Wound up passing away 6 years later. But yeah, that I almost retired after that fire. That one messed me up. And
I mean, so much going on. Your mind is overwhelmed. I mean, we're trained. We've done so many things, but when that's not something that you're expecting, I guess, obviously. And you're like, holy shit. Like holy shit. Your mind is trying to process what's going on so you can do what you got to do. I'm sure it probably felt like a long time. It probably was 2-3 seconds for you, like that you just were like, oh shit, I bet it wasn't as long as you think it was.
As I thought it was,
as you thought it was. And then to deal with that and then just get back into the work and doing what you had to do. I'm sure, I know that everything was done possibly. And unfortunately, that's just the way it was.
Again, that's one of the things that, throughout my career, I should have done this, I should have done that. It happened we'll lead into it. It happened at the next 2 fires too. Well, I should have done this, I should have done that.
Right.
So.
Oh man. Was there any counseling unit back then? I don't remember.
There was a job. Yeah. So shout out to the counseling unit. There were 5 counselors on September 11th in the New York City Fire Department counseling unit. Only 5. And what it was like. It was for the guys who it wasn't for mental health. It was for guys that got in trouble. The guy got DWI, a guy that popped hot on a piss test, a guy that got locked up for beating up his old lady. They called it the farm. You went there and it wasn't mental health stuff until September 11th. And, and that whole thing, that in itself, how the counseling unit expanded itself and went outside the confines of the fire department to ask for help because there were so many firehouses that needed, and we got lucky. We got a guy assigned to a firehouse, Dr. Paul. He saved my life. He was a psychologist that worked with Vietnam vets. Right. So he had a lot of experience with post-traumatic stuff. And, something we talked about before, and I'm sure we'll get to it later, about talking about all this stuff. The reason why I reached out to you, because that's the biggest thing, is you got to be able to get this stuff out of your head. Yeah. Nobody wanted to talk to Dr. Paul when he was in the kitchen at the kitchen table. Nobody wanted to be that guy to talk to the doctor, until he had to leave, and we had Fort Knox there. We had, the 20-foot high fence with the razor wire on it. Somebody had to unlock the gate to let him out of the parking lot. And then the guy would go let him out of the parking lot and he'd be outside for 45 minutes. They're like, hey, where did Joe go? Right. And wound up having a 45-minute session in the parking lot. And we started calling that parking lot therapy. And I don't care what it is that you did. I was pretty open about my stuff, but I don't care. The guys that were afraid to say something at the kitchen table would follow him out and they wound up getting a counseling session in the parking lot, and that hopefully that helped. But I saw him for years after that. Therapy, medication. I've been on medication since the 11th, since 20.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
It works for me. It doesn't. You got to find what works for you, Kenny. It's not. Some people are very against it. Some people are against therapy. You got to find what works. You got to find what works for you.
And sometimes that takes a while,
a long time. It might not be the right medicine. It might not be the right therapist. But you can't stop. You got to keep going and figure out what works for you.
Yeah. And I gather you've pretty much found what's working for you.
Yeah, I found what works for me. Every once in a while, I told you earlier, there's, not every day's a good day.
Yeah.
But have my moments, as we all do. And I even went back in November of last year. I wound up going to an inpatient place called Shatterproof, which it's down in Deerfield Beach, Florida. It's for first responders, and I recommend that a lot of people go there, and my role as a peer counselor down here. And but I never, not for myself, until I started. And I started answering questions the same way. Like I was saying exactly the same things that I was sending down there. No, I'm fine. No, I don't need it. No, I'm good. No, that's right. No. And I'm like, you know what? I'm answering the questions the same exact way. I think I need some time.
And you recognizing that is huge. Recognizing that you're doing the same things that you're telling these guys that they're doing. You're like, oh shit, just to be cognizant of that, like, you know what? Now I need to go to do something. Yeah. Wow. Wow, man. Wow,
I wish I would have figured out the mental health side and the peer counseling side while I was still on a job in New York. That I probably would have wound up staying, but I didn't discover all that until I moved down here. But I didn't realize how bad I was until I actually moved down. Till I moved down here
and got away from it.
Myself from the fire department. Yeah.
There's still, and the thing is too, there's still, even though it's been brought out in the open and we're making progress with it, there's still a lot of stigmas attached to that, especially in the line of duty that we're in, firefighting, cops, military guys. Guys are still reluctant to open themselves up in front of other guys. That's number one. Like, and actually say, I'm having a problem. I need to talk to, we could sit and banter back and forth at the kitchen table and break balls. But once I left the table and on my drive home, I'm still thinking about when it's quiet, when I'm not in the kitchen with the guys and it's quiet. That's when the wheels start turning. I'm like, and it starts coming back to you. When I'm in the kitchen, when I'm at the firehouse, when I'm in the chaos, it's all right. I'm good. But on that drive home, when things are quiet, when I get home, is where I was home, but I wasn't present with my family. I'm physically there, but I wasn't mentally there.
Yeah, Ken, that's exactly what I missed the first couple of years of my son's life, man. I apologize to him all the time. He was 8 when we moved down, almost 9 when we moved down here. And I missed the first couple of years of his life because I was not present. I didn't have a drinking problem. I didn't have a drug problem, gambling, sex, nothing like. My vice was that I just had checked out of my life. And I was not. I would sleep. I would come home from work and I'd sleep for 3 days. And I didn't get to experience my growing up with my son. And hopefully, we talk about. He's 18 now, and we talk about it, and he tells me how much he loves me and I'm the best dad ever, and it just makes me want to cry every time he tells me that because I know that I was such a shitty dad and a shitty husband at that time. And thank God my wife has stuck around. I don't know why sometimes. But I've been able to, the relationship I have with my son now is amazing, So
it sounds very similar. Same thing. I didn't have a drug problem, a gambling problem. I didn't think I had a drinking problem, but I did drink way fucking too much. I definitely drank to cope, but I didn't consider myself alcoholic. I've cut that down since I've retired immensely. I never knew that I wasn't present with my family until I was on the Salty show and I was talking about it, and I found old videotapes, right, that I was going to try and convert to digital to put them on computer. And one of the tapes was my son's first steps. He was 9 months old, right? So you see a kid walk for the first time, take his first steps, and we got it on video. Like, what a monumentous occasion in life, your son. And whatever was going on in my life, my wife turned to me in the video, which was back in, 2006. She turned to me. She goes, you see, your life isn't that bad. And we heard it on the video. And I was like, and this was, 17 years later, I was like, holy shit. And it hit me. Wow. How many years was I not present? Like I couldn't even enjoy my son's first steps. Like it was so weird. Yeah. So definitely a similar paths.
And that's why I reached out to you. I've listened to all your other podcasts, and it's our lives are so parallel with stuff like that. And I remember you telling that story about watching the video where your son's first steps, and like, I wasn't even there.
Wow. Yeah. Crazy stuff, man.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Do you want to move on to the Carpluk?
We could. Yeah, we can move on. Yeah.
Sure. Let's do that, because I definitely want to get into your time down in South Carolina, and you're an advocate and your lectures and stuff like that. So go ahead.
So a year and a half after the Black Sunday fire, I was working a mutual, paying back a mutual in Rescue 3, and we wound up going to the Walton Avenue fire, and 99-cent store, one-story taxpayer on a corner, and the floor collapsed. And was working at Rescue 3. It was on the outside. I had the saw. We were cutting the roof, and I don't know if you were able to find that picture, but
no,
just finished cutting a hole in the roof. We're up on the roof of this. Just finished cutting a hole, and something happened, and I took a step back, and my foot sunk in the tar. And you think about all the things that the guys told you at the kitchen table, because 75% of what I know, I learned at the kitchen table just from listening to guys talk about the jobs that they went to and everything.
Yeah. And
my foot sunk in the tar, and I'm like, that's really weird. That's not supposed to happen. And I turned around to tell somebody, and Mickey Conboy was a lieutenant in 41 at the time. He's in Rescue 3 now.
Mm-hmm.
His back was towards me, and he had the tick facing away from me. And I turned to him, because of what I saw on my foot. I said, "Hey, Mickey," and then he turned around and he went, "Everybody off the roof."
Right as he saw that,
got everybody off the. He saw something that in addition to what I saw, that just knew something wasn't right. Mm-hmm. And we all got off the roof, and within 5 minutes, the roof collapsed.
Wow.
So, and thank God it didn't crush anybody that was operating inside the store, because the Maydays hadn't happened yet.
Yeah.
But he got everybody off the roof, and he saved like 14 guys' lives.
Wow.
That day, just by getting them off the roof. But that one picture I had, you see the vent hole that I cut, and then the big opening where it collapsed.
No,
that was
that's
Sikorsky.
Yeah. It's hard to see these pictures.
Yeah. That's that picture right there. That's at 4:00 in the morning. That's when we found. Yeah, that's when we found Greg. He was from 46 Engine. He was on a detail. He wasn't assigned yet. And the bottom left is his dad. His dad was there. Yeah, and then it's 4:00 in the morning. There's got to be 30 guys in line there carrying him out.
Easy. Yeah, easy.
So
man.
But back to the Walton Avenue
fire. Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. It's all right. The picture shows the vent hole, the collapse, and my footprint. And how close my footprint was to where the collapse happened, and how Mickey told us all to get off the roof. So, then the Mayday happened, and we were all up on the roof when the Mayday happened. So we went down in the basement trying to find different ways into the basement. And the shooting on myself for that fire is I should have went to the right when we got in the basement instead of going to the left. We wound up going, myself and another guy from Rescue 3 wound up going in another location, and we were trying to dig to get through the rubble, and we thought it was a fireman, but it was debris. So we wasted all we felt. Should it on myself again, wasted all that time trying to, and it was 99 cents. Do you know what a 99-cent store is like? It was pouring rain. So all the boxes were, falling apart from the rain, and it was a mess. It was like swimming in the ocean, trying to move all these things around to get to these guys.
Yeah.
And they wound up getting them from inside the store because Reilly fell into the hole, and then Carpluk fell on top of him.
On top of him, yeah.
And Reilly, who was a probie, he died that day. And Carpluk, who was working overtime in 75 engine, he was a lieutenant in 42 engine. He wound up dying the next day from I think it was positional asphyxiation, they called it, because he was bent over. But you listen to that audio too. He was trying to get everybody to go to. He knew the probie was underneath him, and he was trying to get everybody. They even said that they were giving him the face piece of the rit pack, and he kept trying to take it off because he wanted to give it to the probie. You know, because he knew the probie was below him. You know, but that's I wasn't directly involved in an extrication of the guys at that fire, but being there, hearing the maydays, hearing them on the radio, trying to get to the guys, and then where you're operating, you feel you're not doing any good, and like, man, I wasted so much time there. If I would have went around this way, maybe it would have been a different. So,
yeah, I mean, you could do that all day to yourself, But
stop shitting on yourself.
Yeah, you can't. There's nothing that's just the way you went. Other guys went other ways. It's just the way it was. That's that's this isn't the picture, right?
No.
I don't know. I can't find that picture. I'm sorry.
Right.
Anyway,
actually, that picture there, the guy to the right is Bobby Hamilton. He was one of the guys killed on the 11th.
Oh man, God, so many.
That's probably in Harlem. It's probably over on Lenox Avenue.
Yeah, I think I was at that job. So, all right, like that's another. You got the 9/11, Black Sunday, Carpluk Reilly, and then you go to the Deutsche Bank Fire.
Yeah,
I mean,
less than a year after the Walton Ave fire. It was almost exactly a year.
Yeah, because it was Carpluk and Reilly were 8/27, 2006, and Deutsche Bank was 8/18, 2007. No.
Yeah.
Wow.
And January 23rd, 2005, August 27th, 2006, and then August 17th or 18th.
I think it's the 18th.
2007.
Yeah, 3 years in a row. Like, I mean, dude, holy, it just kept piling on, after the 11th, and then the Black Sunday fight, like, it just must have, you just been like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah.
Now you guys weren't even, like, you guys weren't even, you were on a different assignment down there.
Yeah, right? We were actually doing a confined space standby because they were digging up West Street because 6 years later they're finding human remains on top of buildings and under the roadway. So we were doing a confined space standby. That's a whole other topic that we can talk about. How to, never mind. I'm not going to get into that.
Another time.
Yeah. But we were doing a confined space standby right across the street when the fire happened there, and they were deconstructing a building floor by floor, but doing the asbestos abatement. So it's actually there's a picture of the Deutsche Bank building, like right around like September 12th or something, right, with 10 and 10.
Boom.
That's 90 West Street. That's a whole other story. Yeah, that's a 90 West Street. We found two people in an elevator on September 12th. Yeah. When
really? Yeah.
The dispatcher kept calling them and telling them they were on the phone with two people stuck in an elevator on 90 West Street. And the chief, we finally went down September 12th, the next day. We got assigned to Chief Spatafor at 90 West Street, and he goes to my boss, Charlie Schmidt. He's like, I sent three people in there and they can't find them. So we went in there and we found the elevator. We went up to the fourth floor. We had a shovel, a Halligan, and a pry bar. Those are the only tools we had. And we dug. That's Deutsche Bank building.
Yeah, there it is.
That's right next to 10 and 10. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and then 90 West Street on September 12th, we wound up finding the elevator shaft, and we opened up the car doors, and there were two dead people in the elevator.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh, man. Shit. Man. And then the Deutsche Bank, like, just was, I mean, I think I read the report and listened to the transmissions. It was just absolute freaking.
Yeah, the contractors, they cut the standpipe risers down in the basement, and the engines thought that they were supplying the Siamese, and no water was getting. Took them over an hour to get water.
That's when things changed, where we had to start checking buildings every week or two with building inspection and
construction.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. So that was another woulda, shoulda, coulda. We wound up we should have told the contractors to stop so that we could go across the street a lot sooner. By the time we actually got over there, we got an assignment. They had already brought the guys down, but the assignment that they gave us, if we would have gotten that assignment soon, this is where I shit on myself again. We would have came out right where the guys were found, and we were the first ones to cut through the plywood that was covering the stairwells. Yeah, because the guys tried to do with the K-12s, and they weren't working in that environment. So we brought up a couple of Sawzalls with us, and we were able to. And when we broke through from the 13th floor to the 14th floor, we found Beddia's helmet and the line that 24 engine had. So it's just one of those things again. What if we did this sooner? Would we have been able to get to those guys? Man,
I mean, you can't beat yourself up. Like I get it. I get it
for a really long time.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Of course, if you're on scene, you're like, oh, I could have done this. I could have done that. I wish I did this. I wish I did that. But
that's what we do, though.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
I tell you a quick story. It was year 2000. It was around September, October 2000, and a guy in another fire department down here wound up dying by suicide. And they called it was Charleston, the city of Charleston, who has an IFF local. Yeah, they're big in with peer counseling because of the Sofa Superstore fire that happened when they lost in 2007. Yeah, so they're big on mental health and peer counseling and everything. And they called the IAF, and peer counselors came. 2 guys came from Texas and 2 guys came from New York. And my buddy who runs the peer team in Charleston, he's like, hey, there's a couple of New York guys down. Meet us out for dinner. So I went out to dinner with the guys, and I sat in between the two of them, and I got talking to them about stuff. And it's the guy sitting to the right of me after I start telling. I'm talking about the Black Sunday fire. Yeah. The guy sitting to the right of me is one of Kurt Meyran's closest friends. Wow. Right? The guy sitting to the left of me was Dan Bellew, John Bellew's brother. Holy. Wow. So I'm like, it was supposed to happen, Kenny. Yeah. Like, I sat at this table in between these 2 guys, and I was able to get the shit off my chest about how for 15 years it was bugging me that I didn't do enough to save your brother. Yeah. And he was able to give me closure with that, man. It was pretty powerful. I was supposed to be there, Yeah. It was fate that you were supposed to be there. Yeah. It definitely, I mean, even like, it'd be just being at these scenes and going through this stuff. And then what you do now, as far as the advocate and the lecturer and all that stuff, you almost like, it's almost like you had to go through that to be able to teach guys and show guys, you know what I mean? Yes. And why I do what I do and what you're doing now is to try and get the guys before they have to go and talk to them and tell it's okay to talk about this stuff. Right. Right. Yeah. Sometimes you're just having a bad day. Yeah, man. It's okay. It's okay to not be okay. So, that's right. Let's pop that up here. Boom. This is on the front of. Yeah. That's the office for the Low Country Firefighter Support Team, which was started right after the Charleston 9 fire. That's who I'm a peer counselor for. And that's in front of the office. It's an old firehouse in North Charleston. So, yeah, and that's, some days are just really hard, man. One of your last podcasts was just saying how you were, you were out of it for a little while, and
Yeah,
So,
just feeling like shit, you know.
highs and lows, man. Highs and lows.
Peaks and valleys.
Peaks and valleys. Yep.
I have my routine every day, and if I trust the process, I eventually get out of that valley. You know, I just keep doing what I do. Early wake up, get in the gym, eat right. You know, do my read right stuff, positive self-talk. You know, manifestation of stuff like that. You know, and then eventually come out of it.
You come out of it.
Just eventually come out of it.
Yeah, you've weathered 100% of the storms you've had so far.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so you decide to retire from FDNY.
Yep.
Right. You just were like, all right, it's my time's up here. It's ready. I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you get down
getting promoted made it a little easier. Got a little spark in again.
Yeah.
You know,
I totally skipped over that. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. You know, carrying a flash heavy. You know, it's not a flashlight; it's a flash heavy.
Yeah, like you got promoted,
Your arm
man.
gets tired from doing this all the time.
You just got to hold it. That's it. Boss, where is it? Where's the fire? Oh, it's right there. Point right there. That's it.
The laser hook. Yeah, the laser hook. Wherever the flashlight points, the ceiling falls down.
I totally skipped over that, man. We were getting deep and I forgot, man. I'm sorry. Oh, you know what I want to ask you before we do that? Tell me a Keith Nicoliello story.
Oh God, Keith. God, I love him. So when I was I've known Keith since years before I got on the job.
Oh, okay, really?
His aunt and uncle were very good friends with my parents. His uncle was actually a councilman that hired me as a police officer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was my hook there. So every Thanksgiving, after we'd have Thanksgiving with my family, we'd go over to the McElroy's house for dessert, and Keith would always be at their house. You know, so he was always talking about the job, and always can't wait to get on a job. And I would call Keith after I got on a job. I'm like, I'm looking to get out of here. What do you think? Blah blah blah. This, that, and the other thing. And then, but never ever, And I got to 41, and I saw him at a job, and he never talked to me ever again.
That
was
no
it.
Way.
That was it. Never spoke to me again.
Did he look at you like this? And he just cut you off from there. That
was it. Cut me off. But he got soft in his old age, and as the years went on, he wound up talking to me, and and I got he talks about Billy Walsh, who he went to probie school with.
Yeah.
They're still good friends. He lives up in Warwick as
yes.
well. Yeah. But Billy was the captain of 41.
Right. Okay.
For a time. Yeah. So he but it was funny. I would see Keith at fires, and then he went. I'm like, okay, I get it. There was a lot of this with especially with 30 truck, and I understood it from when they first started 41. I got it.
59 did it.
At that time, talking about those chiefs, and we only, you're going to the 16th Battalion. They could handle a one alarm fire by themselves. We're not needed. We did a lot of smoke walks. Yes, we did. Or they make a 10-2 squad. Okay. But I got to go to a lot of fires and stand in front of a fire building and watch people what they're doing. And sometimes didn't do a lot of things. At the fires, because God forbid you did something you weren't supposed to do. If Kennedy was the chief, or Cassidy or McKnight, or I'm trying to think of one of the other old time very salty chiefs there. If you did something other than your assignment, we would have never worked in Harlem ever again. So we only did what we were told to do.
That's it. So, that's all you can do, right? 59 didn't mind you guys so much. 30,
it was always the trucks. The trucks had the problem. When they made the fast truck, and then the third due truck used to catch a lot of work, and then then the squads and the rescues would come on in 1070. But then they made the third truck the fast truck.
I think Keith even went around the firehouse and threw out anything that was yellow. Like yellow cups.
I have no doubt.
Yellow chalk. We couldn't even write yellow chalk on the board.
Yeah. You gotta love a guy like that has so much pride in his company, though. And 40 years in a fire truck.
Lived and breathed the fire department, man.
And life, man.
And I interviewed him, and he is a fire memory machine. He remembers he'll say, I can't remember what I ate for breakfast, but he'll remember a fire in 1983 and what floor it was on. Yeah, and the address, like it's crazy.
It was on the corner of 132 and Park Avenue. It was a 4-story brownstone. The fire
there was
on
a
the
brick.
3rd floor in the rear. Yeah.
And there was a brick missing out of when you went up the stairs. Like he remembers the craziest stuff, man. That's so funny.
Yeah.
So funny.
I can't remember people's names now.
Yeah. And she called me Danny before.
I called you Danny, yeah.
So you got promoted and you went to 43 truck eventually, right?
43 engine, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, 43 engine.
Yeah.
See, now
I covered for a while. Had a good, they took care of me. It did 13 months in 33 truck on a medical leave spot, great Bronx truck company. And the opportunity came up because they're in the same battalion, and to go to 43 engine, a lieutenant was going to get promoted to captain there. And, and I didn't want to go there because my father was hanging out there, and I wanted to kind of make a name for myself.
Oh, no, that's not it.
That's on April 1st, 4-1. Everybody gets together on April 1st. So that's a bunch of 41 guys.
Well, here's a 43. There you go.
Yep. So, and I didn't want to go there because my dad hung out there so much, and I kind of wanted to, I didn't want there to be any friction between, hey, your fucking kid did this, and
Yeah.
But when I weighed the pros and cons, there weren't any cons. It was a good place, and it was like the legacy thing, like that my uncle was a lieutenant there, and then I hung it. It's funny, there were 2 guys there that they both wound up retiring with like 40 plus years on job. When I got to 43, there was a guy in the engine and a guy in the truck, and the guy in the truck knew me from when I was hanging out as a teenager.
Oh,
and he
man.
goes, I practically changed your diapers, kid. Don't think you're telling me what to, just because you're a fucking lieutenant now, You're
like, all right.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Now, those 2 guys, they were just trying to wait each other out. Who was going to retire first, right?
The one guy in the truck, Tommy O'Shea, they call him Pops. He was determined to be the senior guy on the job before he retired.
Senior guy in the job.
Yeah. So, that's another story there. It's, the gifts that you give to the firehouse when you get promoted or retired.
Yeah.
So there's a plaque in the middle there that my name is on, and that replaced the table that my uncle gave to the firehouse when he got promoted from lieutenant to captain.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Nice. That's a nice table. I love it.
Oh.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. All right. I can't find it. Who is this now?
Oh, that's Sully, Brian Sullivan.
Oh, okay.
Brian Sullivan died 2009. He had a heart attack after 24. They made it a line of duty death.
Right. Yeah.
This was almost exactly a year before he died.
Oh, wow.
Brian and I were firemen together in 41. He got promoted. I got promoted. He wound up coming back as a lieutenant. Yeah. And then he wound up, I think that picture was in 2008. I'm sorry, 2018. 2018. I went to the firehouse one day. He was there. I took a picture with him, and a year later, he was gone.
Man, dude.
And that's another thing that adds up, man. It fills up the box. The box inside your head. It just all this trauma and shit that fills up, and then it starts to overflow. Yeah. And that's when the bad stuff starts to happen. And that's why I'm such an advocate about talking about stuff, because you got to get it. You got to get it out of your head. Yeah. You got to get it out of your head, man. You've
known a lot of guys. You've lost a lot of friends, a lot of guys that you knew. And that's
on and off the job.
Yeah. Not many people deal with that, So it fills up, man. It just keeps going. Oh, man.
Yeah, the guy who got me the job down here, who told me about the job in North Charleston, he died in a car accident a year after I got here.
Jesus Christ.
So,
holy. Oh, man. So, all right. So, speaking of North Charleston, you retired from the FDNY because because why?
I'm done.
You're done.
I'm done. Yeah. I felt like I couldn't do it anymore. Physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. I got plenty of things wrong with me, but nothing bad enough to get 3/4.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So things have gotten worse over the years. I can't breathe. I can't freaking breathe anymore.
Mm.
But I'm going to be 59 years old in September, so I'm no spring chicken anymore either.
Yeah.
But I wanted to move to South Carolina. I wanted to still be a part of the fire service, and I wanted to, because I worked for a training company, On Scene Training Associates. I did work with them on the side, but I felt all these things that I learned from these guys over the years.
Yeah.
It's our duty to pass on what the guys before us gave to us, right? Yeah. And that's what you do as you go along in your career as a senior man or as an officer. You got to share all those experiences so that they can understand what the job is about. And I felt like I learned so much from these guys that I wanted to give back that way. So I wanted to be able to share my experience as a firefighter to other people, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like that was the way to do it. I can retire from the job, but I can still be in the job down here. So yeah. It was kind of a good thing and a bad thing.
Now you got to Charleston first. Did you become like were you like mental health advocate right away, or
no? No. What happened was a couple months. I was living down here by myself for 9 months before my family moved, and I had stopped going to therapy because I didn't have a therapist down here, and I stopped my medication, and I got in a real bad spot again, and that's how I wound up going to talk to the guys at the Low Country Firefighter Support Team, who connected me with the first responder support team. There were counselors that work for the mental health, county mental health organization down here. And I got back into therapy again, and I got medication again. And, and then somebody asked me to tell my story once, and I put a PowerPoint together and I told my story about all the shit that happened in my career from the time I was a 17-year-old volunteer firefighter. We didn't even get into that stuff. I mean, I did CPR when I was a cop. I did CPR on a 3-month-old baby all the way to the hospispittal.
Yeah.
And it's all those things that, and that's just the big stuff, not to mention the small stuff that we see every single day.
Yeah.
I say, who was the football player that wound up
Junior Seau?
No, it was a televised game one night.
Oh, but the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and the guy went into cardiac arrest on the field and
tackled the guy, stood up, and then dropped. Yeah.
Yeah, you're watching, all these 6'8", 300-pound men hysterical crying because they've never seen anything like that before. And guys like you and I are like, what's the big deal? We did that 3 times the last 24.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the shit that weighs on you, man. The stuff that, even the small stuff like that, like constantly going to seeing dead people or doing CPR, or I can't imagine what it was like during COVID. I was retired by then. But the guys were telling me that, it was crazy. It was crazy.
I mean, there were times we were going to this nursing home 6-7 times in a 24. And while we were doing CPR, we'd have to call 69 engine to come and do CPR on
somebody else.
The guy, like, COVID was out of control. I mean, 59 Engine's just such a busy EMS running company as it is. And we were doing this stuff all the time, but COVID was out of control. Out of control.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. So let me ask you something. When you were down there, you stopped therapy and you stopped medication, did you think you were all right? Or you just were like,
so that was a cycle that I had that I learned a long time. And I don't know why I let it lapse again, but for anybody who's never been on psychotropic meds before, it takes 30 to 60 days to start to work, and then you start to feel better. So I would feel better, and then, I feel better. I don't need the medicine anymore. And then it would take 30 to 60 days for it to not work anymore. And then I would feel crappy again. So I had this cycle of, I would feel better. I would go off the meds. I'd feel shitty again. So I'd go back on the meds and I feel better. But every time I went off the meds, it got worse and worse.
Really?
The lows got bad. And that's and since I moved down here, I haven't, I've back on medication therapy. And again, it has to be what works for you.
Yeah. So for me, I was never on medication, but when I retired, I started getting into really good habits and good routines and changing a lot of things. And my highs were higher and my lows weren't low for very long anymore. You know, I think just getting into, for me, a regular sleep cycle, like I was sleeping every night, was such a difference. And I'm not saying I'm opposed to therapy or medication, really, but I wanted to do things like naturally, I guess, and working out and routine. And I just found that my lows weren't lows for very long, as long as they used to be. And my highs were a lot longer. So whatever I was doing was working for me. And I didn't know that the 30 to 60 days with the medication was like that. That was interesting. Wow. So now you moved from Charleston to Goose Creek. I said that right.
Not Gooseneck.
Not Gooseneck. Not the Gooseneck. You don't shake the Gooseneck. Now, what did you walk into like Goose Creek and go, listen, I was a captain over here. I was a lieutenant on FDNY. I was in squad, and that should just make me a chief right away. So you walked right in as a battalion chief. Is that how that worked?
No, I gotta tell you,
you had a driver and everything. Like you bring the driver with you?
You know who that is? That's Chief Sulka, John Sulka.
Oh, John Sulka.
That's John Sulka. His kid works for me. Yeah.
Get out of here.
So he came down to visit his kid, and I'm like, dude, I gotta go get my hat, and you gotta sit in the driver's seat. You're gonna be my aide. Right?
That's great.
So that's the joke, that picture. But that's great. His kid works for me down there. So what happened is that North Charleston is a pretty big. It's the third largest department in the state. Probably does the most fire duty in the state. They're pretty busy. They got 14 firehouses. I was doing training and I wanted to go operational again, but in a certain purpose. I can't wear SCBA. I can't wear. My body won't. I can't do it. So I can stand in front of a building though, and tell people what to do. So this department next to North Charleston, they got a new chief. Mike Nixon is his name, and he's from Portland, Maine. And he retired. He retired out of Portland, Maine, and took the chief's job in Goose Creek. And I met him through some training, and he's like, "Listen, I'm gonna have an open battalion chief spot. Would that be something that you're interested in?" I'm like, "Absolutely," because I'm trying to do it in North Charleston, and the cards weren't falling in the right direction. So I interviewed for that job, and I wound up getting a battalion chief spot. There. So
nice.
It's very different. It's not the Northeast.
No, huh?
Oh, it's I've been fighting for the last 10 years. I've been fighting, and a lot of guys down here, the good old boys are set in their ways, and they don't want to change things, and you just try and, and I was the guy from New York who, like you just said, you can't tell us shit. So I'm not trying to tell you. I'm just trying to, why don't you think about doing it this way? Maybe it might work better.
We don't give a shit how you did it up there, Yankee.
Yankee. Well, I'm a damn Yankee now because I stayed.
You're a damn Yankee now because you stayed.
I found out a couple of things that, like, y'all is singular, all y'all is plural, and bless your heart is not a good thing. So,
bless your heart is not a good thing.
No.
Oh, bless your heart.
It's like,
really?
The same thing with down here. Like, you come down, everybody wants to talk, like, how you doing is a greeting. I really don't give a fuck how you are.
Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. It's an expression. I don't really give a shit how you're doing.
You're on a line at Target. How you doing? Well, my corns are acting up, and
don't care. But then you got to sit and listen to him because you're not rude.
So.
Oh man, so you enjoying being standing outside directing firemen or what?
I'm in it. I'm back in the firehouse again. I'm sitting at the kitchen table with the guys.
Nice.
Because I was doing Monday to Friday when I was in North Charleston, and it's not in the firehouse. I had my own office at the training ground, and but now I'm back in the firehouse. I'm actually doing Monday to Friday again because we're doing a recruit school right now. So I'm Monday to Friday coordinating a recruit school. But the good and bad, we do 24/48 down here. There's only 3 shifts.
What is it, A, B, and C?
Yeah, A, B, and C. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
24 on, 48 off. It changes shifts at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's a lot. It's a 56-hour work week, and we get guys get forced a lot, and because we have minimum staffing, and it's hard sometimes, but this new chief, he's been there 4 years now. He's trying to get a fourth shift, and I think that he'll be able to do it. So
have you been trying to push the group chart? Hey, we did it. We got this great group chart. Check this out.
yeah, they can't figure out ABC. There's no way they're going to figure out 1 to 25. I show them the calendar. I'm like, this is how it worked. They're like, yeah, I don't understand.
And then you can switch for this one and that
72. The parentheses means 48.
Yeah. We do sideways, up and down, outsides, insides,
bookends.
Yeah, that's our chart is the greatest thing in the world. And other departments, since I've been doing this, obviously, every social media page that I have, everything is just popping up fireman stuff. The algorithm is all fireman, and everything is ABC chart, 1, 2, 3, ABC. So I'm starting to learn other departments. And I just spoke to a guy who they rode 3 guys in a rig, and I think you guys do too. Right. Yeah. So what is it? It's a engineer. You guys call it an engineer?
We have 3 firehouses. We're building a 4th one. So headquarters station has the battalion, a heavy rescue, which has 4, an engine, and a full-time paramedic unit. Yep, that's it. Yep,
there's an engine.
Yeah, I think
there's the rescue.
Yep.
Are they going to make a squad? I'll come down and start the squad. Why not?
I'm trying to get them to understand that there shouldn't be hose on a ladder truck, right? Let alone a pump. So.
No, you this hose, you put the ladder pipe up like 30 did. They're famous for 30.
At the St. John's Church.
St. John Divine. And they did it recently too, believe it or not. Yeah, there was a multiple. I just heard about it a couple weeks ago. I knew about it, but they were talking about it. It was a multiple, and they put up the ladder pipe. Yeah, so
that's because Nick would never let anybody not know how to do that.
Right, we did it all the time. It was actually pretty cool. Yeah. All right, so listen, we got a few minutes left. I want to talk quick about your lecturing with mental health and how you got into that real quick and what you want to say about that.
It's the whole biggest thing, Kenny, just like why I love what it is that you're doing is because you found a medium to be able to get on social media and tell people how you were really feeling about all the shit that happened through you in your career. Yeah. And not guys are afraid to do that. There's still it's not 30 years ago when it's, we don't talk about that shit or, suck it up, kid, there's a whole other side of the pendulum on that one too, though.
Right.
But what we see and what we do affects us mentally, and you have to understand that. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to be a guy, and like you, to be able to get on here and say, you know what, I'm struggling, and I need to talk about it, and it's okay if you're struggling. And when I'm sure this happened after, people that might have known you that didn't know you were struggling, see your podcast and call you up and go, holy shit, thank you so much for opening up, because now I feel like I can do it. If the senior guy in the firehouse sitting at the kitchen table starts talking about mental health, you know how many other people are going to fall behind? If it's okay for him to do it, then it's got to be okay for me to do it. Yeah. If that guy who I respect and look up to and have the, and he's my mentor, and he's telling me that it's okay to feel this way after everything that's happened, and he goes to therapy and he's on medication or he's doing whatever else, it opens up the door for so many other people. And nobody talks about this stuff, and I just try and tell my story, and I'm very honest about it. It's about a 3-hour lecture. It starts from when I was a 17-year-old fireman, and it goes, to present day, because shit's still happening. It still happens in our career. And listening to your first one was the one, and I'm like, I got to call this guy and see if he'll let me, because I love what you're saying.
I appreciate that.
And there just needs to be more people out there talking about it.
Yeah. So. Yeah. That was really, really difficult for me to open up about that, especially to whoever was going to listen. Like, just and then just getting a couple people knew about it, a couple people that were involved, and one of the guys that was involved became a Jersey State Trooper, and he wound up passing away a few years ago of a heart attack out of nowhere.
Oh, wow.
So he was in the car with us. But it's been weighing on my mind for so long, and I felt so guilty. Listen, when I hear your story, I'm like, I didn't go through anything.
Yeah, don't,
you know?
Yeah, my pain is please don't compare stories, man. My pain is my pain and yours is yours.
Yeah.
I was never in a car sitting next to somebody that died.
I mean, it's just, I felt guilty because I had this little argument with him, like, I'm going to drive. No, it's my car. And I was like, it was my turn, whatever. Like, and I was like, all right, fuck it, man. If I can go out and not have to drive, yeah. And then, all that happened. And it weighed on me. I still think about it every day.
You shit on yourself.
Yeah. I don't shit on myself as much as I used to, but it consumed my life for so long, that incident. And that's the beginning basically of my first responder career, like cop, fireman. And then you see all the shit that you see, and the baby, and the kids, and CPR, and then friends dying of cancer that are firemen, all sorts of stuff, and then family, and it's just like you said, it just fills and fills and fills, and then it just
your brother-in-law.
My brother-in-law. The guy was a father figure, a mentor, a best friend, advisor, everything gone. Like watched him, like it just. That hurt so much, like just so all that stuff. And, so it was, I just needed to talk, and I got a lot out, and it felt really good. And some days it feels good to talk. It feels really good. Every time I do one of these things, even if we don't talk much mental health stuff, I feel good. It makes me feel better.
I got a meme in my presentation is you never feel the weight of what you've been carrying until it's gone. It just, when you finally get that, real quick, I know we only got a couple minutes left. This box that we have inside our head that gets filled up with all the trauma, and when it starts to spill over is when it gets bad. And I relate your head to like a water cooler. So if you have a water cooler and you put a hose in it and you run the water, and the water's like all the trauma that's going in, and eventually it's going to start to overflow if you keep putting stuff in it. Yeah. But the water cooler is like your head in the same sense that where the spigot is of the water cooler is like right where your mouth is. So if you open up the spigot, even though that trauma is still coming in, it's still coming out the other side. It'll never get that full again. So if you look at it like that, where, all this trauma is going in and I'm getting it out of my head by talking about it, it'll never fill up again. It'll never get that where it starts to overflow and you get in a bad spot. So
that's I never thought of it that way. That's a pretty great analogy. Is that the right word for it?
Yeah.
So, right. I wanted to ask you the question. What advice do you give to a guy who's been through the stuff, been through it, going through it? You've been through it. I've been through it. Lots of guys that we know have been through it. What advice do you give to a guy like that?
Pretty much, I'll say it again. You have to talk about this stuff, not only to get it off your head, to get it off your mind, but when you do, you're going to allow other people to see that it's okay, and get rid of this stigma of mental health that nobody talks about. And when people in positions of authority or mentors or senior men or company officers or whoever it is that has that position over somebody that's looking up to them sees that if that guy is doing it, I said it earlier, if Kenny can do it, so can I. And then there's so many people that wound up coming to my office when I was in North Charleston. And I would recommend them to the support team because they were comfortable coming to say to me, listen, I'm having a problem. What do I do? And it still happens. I still get phone calls from guys, and that's where the peer counselor stuff comes into it, and it's very rewarding in that sense where I feel better myself whenever I do my lecture, if I do the full 3-hour lecture somewhere, it freaks me out before I do it, because I know I'm going to go somewhere where a lot of emotions are going to be. But then when I'm done with it, I feel, and then you have people come over and share with you, like, thank you so much for saying that, I'm going to go see somebody now, or, just thanks for talking about stuff like that, because nobody else is.
Yeah. Have you ever considered writing a book?
A lot of people have told me that. The one thing I don't like, there's what is it? The road to good intentions. It's the road to hell. Is good intentions.
Road to hell is paved with good intentions. Something like that.
Because I know guys that you get looked at a different way when you start doing something like that. I charge for my lecture, which I never did before. I used to do it because until somebody told me, like, this is your time. Your time is worth something. Yeah. But I know guys out there that talk on the same type of topics that are making a tremendous amount of money. Yeah. And I don't know if I would be able to do that, or if I would be able to write something. And, the whole thing that everybody, you're making money off of somebody else's tragedy. I don't think of it that way, but somebody will think of it that way. Yeah. But I just want to be able to, that's why I want to tell my story. And that's why I asked to go on podcasts like this, because I want to talk about it so that other people can talk about it and get rid of the stigma, and people can get better.
Sure. So where do you do lectures? Where can we find you out there if somebody wants you to give them a lecture?
I think my email would probably be the best. I'm not a big social media guy, but I am on Facebook, Stephen Gillespie, and Instagram. I can't remember. I think it's Steve Gillespie _ FDNY, something like that. But probably my email would be best. smg9340@outlook.com.
I will. I'll definitely link your stuff in the description for sure. Would you do out of state lectures too? Or no? If somebody, okay. Yeah. All right, that's good. Yeah. So I'll definitely link all your stuff in the description if anybody's interested in Steve Gillespie's lectures on mental health. And if you listen to this whole podcast, I mean, we could have talked for, I'm telling you, 5 hours. And I guarantee that you and I will be on doing this again in the future, because there's so much stuff that we didn't hit on, so we'll definitely talk again. So I'm going to leave it at that. How's that? Awesome. Did you have a good? Was this great or what? I mean, this was a great talk.
Kenny, we could go for another couple hours probably, and
we definitely could. So we'll definitely get you back on the show for sure.
Yeah, we definitely have parallel careers, and I'm really glad that you're doing this so that I can do something like this.
Absolutely, I'm glad that you came on. I'm glad that we linked up.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, and for anybody out there who's struggling, just talk to somebody. First step is, for me, acknowledging that you're having problems, and then go and talk to somebody. Talk to somebody who they may not know what to do, but maybe they know somebody that knows what to do. So first step is acknowledging, and then talking to somebody. All right. So thanks everybody. Thanks, Chief, Captain, Lieutenant, Fireman, Steve Gillespie. I really appreciate it. And remember, everybody, don't hang up. Steve, don't hang up.
Okay.
Yet, all right. We'll talk for 5 more minutes after I stop recording. So thanks, everybody. Remember, it must be true if you heard it at the kitchen table. Thanks again, Steve.
Thanks, Kenny.